Welcome.
Hi, yay.
It's number 5, bitches.
Praise Jesus.
That's right. And you're still here. But there's a bunch of you, actually. Hi. There's some LEMMY stories. There's some dating stories. There's some shitty stories about some verses that I don't really like. It's not the most. Some negative shits. We get to the positive stuff eventually, but can't all be winners. You know, we're working through this together.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
We're here. We're here. You're here. I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah.
It's love. It's
Praise
peace and love.
love.
Right,
Praise
let's fucking do this shit.
Continue, bitches. Hold on.
Hit that record button. Good.
I'm recording. Turn on original sound. Turn on original sound. Yes. And then, hold on, let me get this over here. And then, how do I put that dick in my mouth? Hold on. Gently.
Gently. Oh, we gotta fucking edit that one out, probably.
And the dick in the mouth part.
That's cool. I got my hair cut and everything.
Leif, you sent me a picture of some original artwork.
Oh yeah, you like that shit?
I like most of it.
It's pretty offensive. Huh?
It's not offensive. Well, it's what's offensive to me about it personally is we're gonna need his skin color to be much darker.
Okay, well, yeah, I think it's just a neon thing, but I'll tell her that. That's just the first round of a bunch.
Yeah, I figured we'd, but you know, so I did this with the Laughing Man Farm graphics and all that stuff, and it's like I love this process where it's like you just get to create something out of nothing.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, but it's totally okay that you haven't thought of what you want it to be, right? And maybe you don't, but then you see it and you're like, that's really cool. But what if, you know what I mean? So
no, let's keep it factual. Can you hear me, by the way?
I can, but
okay.
I seem to be, I'm really happy with how loud I am. Maybe it's because I have my earplugs in right for the first time ever.
Fuck yeah, hopefully. We're getting better. We're getting way better.
Let me make sure that
Look what I got.
Oh, do you have the biblical?
I do.
All right, brother.
Yeah. Do we just start with it? See, this one's a John MacArthur study Bible.
Hold on 1 second. Hi. Hold on. There's
morning.
Katie.
Top of the morning.
Look who's at the top of the stairs.
What's up, dude?
Arnois.
Arnois.
He's been to Paris, so his name is Arnois.
That's a good call.
It's not true. He hasn't been to Paris.
Okay.
But he did fly private a couple weekends ago.
Did he? How was that?
So dope.
Having friends in low places.
Oh my God. It's going to be hard to go back.
Yeah.
So like now every time we have a vacation, we're going to let our friends know.
Dude, I played the Capitol Hill Block Party in 2002.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
I played it when it was like a block party.
Yeah. And now it's like a fucking national event.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's this thing I've been doing is and you know, funnily enough, the one business they're keeping is this wine importer distributor, and so that's what I've been doing is starting to go through the list of current people who bought during COVID. And just reconnect with them and, you know, get stuff out to them again. And I got the guys from, trying to get into PCC and try to get into Met Market. And,
cool.
You know, so, yeah, it's just something to do, man. The fucking fun. Apparently God doesn't like weed as much as he likes wine because I can't make weed work, but wine's a fucking no-brainer.
Well, what we need is we won't edit this part out. Like,
Yeah.
we need a weird freak that's willing just to do it all the time. We'll just help
Do
them.
what? Do what?
Just live at a grow op somewhere and make the best weed ever. You know?
Yeah.
Make shit tons of it. We need like a couple weird people that want that. And we'll just brand with them. We'll just help them money. Give them a bunch.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
also have. I still have the processing license, so
Yeah.
we can buy weed from those people. We just don't have to grow it ourselves.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Let's
we can buy,
meet.
and it scales so that we can buy all of the weed in Washington if we wanted to. Mm-hmm. We could buy, every ounce of weed that was for sale to wholesalers. We could, whatever.
Well, we've got like the one thing that between both of us we have access to is fucking money.
Yeah, which is kind of weird to think about.
Right? Right?
Maple Valley and Edmonds in the house.
Oops, I need to turn this down. Well, yeah, like I grew up poor as fuck, but
Are
yeah.
you kidding me?
Dude, right? Yeah, like
Well,
I never got a Lunchable. That was like,
Dude, you know what I had a fucking if I didn't make myself a peanut butter and jelly on wheat berry bread with an apple, then I didn't fucking eat, I did not. There was like, I think that, and it was like, I didn't have a lunchbox. I had a shitty paper bag that when it rained, it got wet and your sandwich came out of the bottom. It's like,
yeah.
we got to buy lunch once a week. Mm-hmm. So we'd have the menu on the refrigerator. And we'd have to X which box we wanted.
Which is from school? Lunch
Yeah.
from school? Okay.
Yeah. So no, I get it. We weren't as poor as some kids. They were like, but we were like, when I grew up in Edmonds, and part of
Yeah.
Edmonds is super fancy.
Yeah.
There were some kids at my high school who had nicer cars than I've ever had. Nicer cars than the one I'm driving now in 67 Dodge Mopar,
Yeah.
mint cherried. I'm like, what? Or the I don't know. You remember RX-7s?
Oh yeah. Those Mazdas?
I was in high school when those came out, and this
Yeah,
kid who
yeah.
was a year younger than me rolled in on his 16th birthday with a new one.
Damn.
And I was like,
16?
He's 16 years old, yeah. Yeah, and they were like, dude, like, and a lot of the kids were like mechanically inclined. They're like, they build their own cars, and they were pimped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't even build a shelf in my room. It's like these guys are fucking pulling up in Chargers and Challengers and Mopar and Camaros and
Yeah.
yeah.
I might have spent more hours turning wrenches on engines than I have almost anything else, but I've blocked it all from my memory because I hated it.
Yeah, and
I just wanted to be playing guitar. I hated it, but yeah.
if it's something you have to do,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
But if it's something you love doing, then it's like it's passion.
Yeah, I like my dad. And it was the only time we hung out. He's super into cars. He races like Porsches all the time. So we had
Again,
those-
we've talked about that. Those are actually Volkswagen.
Oh yeah, those are Volkswagens. Yeah, they are. I totally agree.
914s.
Yeah. So
It's a Porsche it's an everyman Porsche, which is
Exactly.
called a Volkswagen.
exactly. That's so fucking true. Yeah, that's why I hated them. Yeah, but yeah, it's a necessity. And when it's like, why don't we just buy something that works? We have 15
Right,
things that don't work.
Your time.
One thing.
Yeah, my dad would fix every car we had. Also,
Yeah.
we had a Dodge, and he hated American cars, and we always got stuck with it. We had a Dodge van, like a total Scooby-Doo van, like
Yeah.
the Mystery Machine.
Yeah.
With the crank windows and the leveler windows.
Did
and
it have
bed
the
in back.
round windows in the back, or did
No,
it
it
have like the
didn't.
teardrop? Oh, okay.
It was, they were square, but they were like
Square,
levered. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
And there was a bench in the back that pulled out to a bed, and
Fuck
the
yeah.
engine casing was between the front two seats.
It get all hot in the summer.
Totally, and we would fight over who got to. That was like the either
good
front
seat?
seat or engine. Yeah, no seatbelts in the back. No seatbelts in the back.
No, was seatbelts anywhere? That was our family car. Did it ever?
Oh, Jesus.
Ours car.
Yeah, no seatbelts. No seatbelts.
Yeah.
Maybe there were lap belts in the front. And one time we were downtown Seattle and we were at a light, on a hill.
Okay.
And like all the gas rushed out of the tank because we didn't have enough money to fill the tank, so it was like half empty, and it like died. And then he had to like back into a parking space after everybody goes around him. And we sat there for hours, just like, well, we're kind of fucked. Hey, this is kind of fun. Let's play on the hill. And it was like one of the only nice days in Seattle. It's like 700 degrees, you know. Yeah, that sort of shit, you know.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was, I mean...
That was Jesus Christ looking out for us.
You just explained my childhood, basically.
Totally
that
did.
was,
Yeah.
You got to entertain yourself.
Right.
Yeah, we came down to, we went to Disneyland for the first time, and we took like our neighborhood friend. So I must have been,
Oh, man.
I was 11 or 12, and the van, that same van, that Dodge, wasn't running. Like we didn't have a fucking transmission in it.
You had a Dodge van?
I've had that van you described 5 times in my life. In fact, I want to buy one now. To be
Totally,
honest,
right?
Yeah.
You know how much you pay for them now? Now you
So
pay
much.
Oh my God! You know, so one of the cars. So at some point, so what happened when we first got here? My dad bought a Volkswagen bus, an old one, and it immediately shit out, and it sat on the side of our house. Well, first it sat in our driveway. So did you have a driveway that had like 4 cars in it at all times?
And the side, we had 4 cars in the driveway, 2 in the garage, and 5 along the side of the garage.
Oh Jesus, dude! Yeah. We grew up in the same house. So at some point in the late 70s, my dad had collected so many cars he had to move. Yeah, he hadn't gone to the side of the house yet, so there were like 3 cars in the front, and we didn't have room to park the car because the most recent one broke down. So he had to like somehow tow the busted ass Volkswagen, 67 Volkswagen bus up. We had a hill like this. Our driveway was like this.
Yeah.
So once they're parked there, they're pretty much there for good,
Yeah.
unless some act of God. You know? And so since there wasn't one, and we broke another car, he had to like somehow get like a tow truck to come pull it out of the driveway, and coast it down to the side of the house, where it sat. Wash it, because I always dreamed that would be my first car. Then I in college I ended up working at a paint store, and so the last time I washed it, there were like some rust spots on it. Okay. Along the corner of the roof, and I sanded those down and like put this red anti-rust oxy paint on it or whatever, and then I moved out and I'm like, Jesus, I'm never having that fucking car. That thing's a piece of shit. I end up buying my own bus, but not right before COVID. Katie and I are in Edmonds because a friend of ours owns the. What's that purple plant that they make whole shops out of? The stuff that smells really nice.
Lavender?
That's the one. She's
Yeah.
got a lavender shop. The lavender shop in Edmonds. We're there. We're going to go see her. We park a ways away. I don't know why. We can't find parking, whatever. And we're walking by, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden there's this guy in this old blue bus. And I'm like, that fucking thing looks familiar. It's like seeing your kid, or like something or like a dog that's imprinted on something. It's like,
yeah.
And
Buster.
so I'm totally Lassie. You're 75, but you're Lassie nonetheless. So I'm walking by and I'm looking, and I'm like, I walk around the outside of him, and the dude's like, what the fuck? I'm getting He's totally thinking I'm gonna mug him or like jump him or totally right. And I look and I see little red, like. It's easily the car. It's so the car. I'm like, before I even see the little red painted parts, I'm like, this is the car.
That's fucking.
And I'm like, I'm like, where'd you get this car? He's like, I bought it from a guy. I'm like, where'd that guy get it? From a guy in Edmonds. I'm like, that was my dad. I'd like to, and so now apparently the thing with a lot of these old cars is the patina. Like you don't want to repaint them. It's not like restoring them.
Okay.
If they're going to be runners, you keep them as they are. You like stop any rust you can, but you keep the kind of old, battered, worn look. And so so he said he takes it up to the Everett Car Show every year. So I'm going to go up there the next time. But I took pictures.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you. We can put it on the website.
Yeah. Dude, maybe we'll get one to tour around in.
Mm-hmm.
A-team style.
Fucking, we can go town to city at 55 miles an hour. Top speed.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I have so many stories of near-death experiences in them. Like, there was this. I worked at this tree farm. I got a job at this Christmas tree farm when I was 11. My whole family did, and the owner was this old Norwegian guy. That's how we kind of got in. And he had a full size one of those. You know the big long fuckers, the Dodge, like the full size. It's like.
Oh, like a now it's a 15 passenger.
Yeah.
But then it was like a
12 or something.
Yeah. And they called it but they called it like a cab crew or work something about work van. It was,
totally.
It was like in the name.
Yeah.
Fact.
It was horrible. It was sketchy as it was. Well, my dad had found the same van and he wanted it. It was up in Marysville, I believe. And so this was the tree farm was in Kent, so we borrowed this guy's van to get the same van. So it's literally the same size van, towing, front mounted, with the wheels tied down, the same size van. And we're coming down one of those straights, might have been in Edmonds, one of these hills, and the fucker starts getting off balance. And my dad's like Navy. Like hard as fuck, like harder than anyone I've ever seen or met. I've seen his bones sticking out, and he's like, "I'm still gonna have fun," like on vacation, and shit. Like,
this isn't over.
Like we were skiing once, and he broke his knee, and he like drank a beer and was like, "I paid for a ticket," and did like more runs.
He's like, "Not on my watch."
It's crazy. And so I'm like. I think I'm 12 at this point. I was a little bit older, and I'm shotgun with him, and so it's the same size van. We're going down this hill. It starts whipping around.
Are you guys towing, or are you guys being towed?
We're towing this van because
okay.
we would never pay for someone to tow the shit.
Right. Is there anyone in the van that's being towed?
No, it's just us two. We went and like tried to get it running with a battery pack with a jumper, and like nothing could work. So we just towed it.
So you're like with straps.
That would normally have been the case, but my dad went all out this time and rented one of those trailers from U-Haul that you can put the front
wheels. Oh, so it's just the front wheels on. Okay, so
it's like
on a 75-foot van.
Yeah, it's like the biggest. Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, I got the visual now. Okay.
Yeah. And at one point, and my dad and I at this point, I've been in like. Near like 1,000 near-death experiences with him, but this one was, and so this van starts actually whipping fully around. So like at one point, the whole van almost came by me while we're going like 50 or 60 miles an hour down this hill, and it's going back, and he's trying to control it. And he just looks at me and goes, "Leifer, I don't know what to do."
And that's like God saying that to you, right? It's like, what?
It was fucking frightening. Luckily, it just like slowly straightened out. We just like took surface roads the rest of the way. But I love and hate those vans.
That's crazy.
How much do you miss the van? Oh, excuse me. I had this.
My van?
No, just touring. Like, remember touring in the van?
Yeah. Well, we sort of. I really liked it. There were certain aspects of our band that sort of made that environment unlivable.
Oh yeah, partying.
And no, just personality-wise. Okay. And so when we moved up to a bus. It was better, but it just became more obvious when like one person came into the back lounge and everyone left. You know what I mean? Like slowly, and so like it was like, well, it's not ideal. Like at least you can you can't go anywhere in a van, which is great.
Yeah.
But then we sort of painted ourselves into a corner because we had to pay for the first van. Like somebody paid for the first bus out of our own money. Like the guy who got all the publishing paid for the bus and got reimbursed when we got dropped. And
that's decent.
Then after that, we couldn't really. It was sort of hard to go back to the van because that dynamic had been so defined.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard.
But I would have been willing to do it. We got op-tu'd. Never mind.
Why not? We
Well,
haven't even read the Bible yet. We're on warm up.
We so we got offered when New American Shame's second single was about to come out. The president of our label, Jason Flom, we were on Lava Atlantic.
Okay, yeah.
Flom pulled some strings and got us the opening slot on the Motorhead Nashville Pussy tour.
Oh, sick.
And one of the guys in our band said, "I can't go. Oh, I have a girl coming into town." And I'm like, what? And then after he realized what he'd said, he was like, "No, I mean, singer's too crazy. We can't go because we'll just break up on the road. So we can't go. We need to figure out the crazy part first."
So this is the lead singer, I'm assuming.
No, it wasn't. The lead singer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, the lead singer was the one who was being said was crazy after he realized, well, I can't not go because a girl's coming into town, so I have to figure out a better reason not to go because the girl's coming into town. So we didn't go on that. And then afterwards, after it started really going south, we got offered opening slot for AC/DC and didn't go.
Oh my God.
We would have had to van, and I was like, dude, I will van anywhere. So there were there's a lot of things, and I also apparently something I don't entirely remember, but have been told by someone I totally respect their memory and the perspective of the situation, was that at the end of that record, we were trying to get dropped, which was a total mistake. But I was like, well, I was already playing with Duff in Loaded. We were already making a record. I'm like, I'm set. I'm playing with Guns N' Roses, dude.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that it's way better to have your own record deal than to play in a band with a guy who can get a record deal.
Yeah.
Because unless you've sorted out some sort of like financial compensation, it's like, it's great to go along with that. But if you are in essence a hired guy, or a guy that's easily replaceable, if you're not the guy that everybody knows, then you're, regardless of how great a relationship you might have, you're still kind of replaceable.
It's rough,
and it's not your deal. It's never your. You don't have any really. You don't have any cards to play, really.
Yeah, Mick Ronson shit, dude.
Yeah,
Spiders from Mars shit. It's horrible.
Right, and that was fucking Mick Ronson.
It's Mick Ronson.
And I am not Mick Ronson. so letting a really great record deal go with a label that loves you and really wants to work with you because you have a side gig or a higher, in essence a hired gig, was a big mistake on my part. I should have fought harder. But hindsight being what it is, I can see clearly now.
I was gonna say, it seems like it worked out.
I didn't get to tour with AC/DC, and I didn't get to tour with Motorhead and Nashville Pussy, but things are okay.
I have a monitor. I have a guy that does front of house I used to live with. He's rad. I'll keep him unnamed. But he said, I can't remember if it was him or one of his buddies was like the monitor dude for Motorhead forever. And he said Lemmy would just like walk over and wipe meth on his gums. Like you had to party.
Stay awake.
So crazy.
Well,
so crazy.
So this is my Lemmy story.
Yes.
When I was living in Los Angeles, I was playing in a band with a legend named Howie Pyro. He was in a band called The Blessed. He was buddies with Sid Vicious and Johnny Thunder. Johnny Thunder is in the Ramones. Yeah, he's like, and if you read that Please Kill Me book,
yeah,
he's in that.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, that's probably why I was. Yeah,
he was also in what's the band that, not Ryan Adams, but I always skipped it. It was so long ago.
Whiskey Town?
No, God, I always space it. Never mind. But anyway, I was in a band with Howie. He plays bass. It was a phenomenal bass player. And there were a couple other guys. And Howie was in Danzig at the time. He was the bass player for Danzig. And the guitar player for Danzig was our guitar player and singer. And at one point, Motorhead was going to be on tour, but the guitar player's mother had passed. And there were going to be like 3 of the shows that the guy couldn't do.
Okay.
So our guitar player singer went out and played with Motorhead.
Fuck.
And this was all lined up because whatever. And then so beforehand, we were all at the Rainbow. And I'm hanging out with guitar player singer, and we're talking with Lemmy. And I'd seen Lemmy, he was always there. It's like,
of course,
he was a fixture. He always was. And so he's always a really sweet guy. But I'm standing there, and the 3 of us are talking, and my guitar player says, "Oh, this is my drummer. We play in this band, blah blah blah." And Lemmy looks at me, he's like, "Oh, I might have to take you with us."
Oh.
And scene.
Man,
yeah, that's it.
That's fucking cool. I never met him.
He threatened to put me in Motorhead.
Right. Yeah. Did you party with him that night?
Not
probably
no.
Just there.
No, just having drinks there. Like he sat at his spot, and like when my guitar player came up, he came up and like got up and he'd go get his drink or like whatever. I mean, I guess he sat at the corner and Christy would always serve him drinks, but no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't do a bunch of meth and a bunch of Jack with him. I might have drank some Jack Daniels, but I don't remember getting crazy.
That's fucking cool.
I've got one other story but it's not really fit for
general
consumption. I'll tell you off the air, but remind me because it's a pretty good one.
I want to hear it.
Yeah,
I want to hear it. I do have some Bible verses prepared.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I've been digging in pretty deep, so I'm excited to have like. I think by Thursday I could have all the verses that support an idea for this other one, but I couldn't really get it done before this, so.
It's all right.
I have my John MacArthur study Bible I've been tearing into.
Who's John MacArthur?
John MacArthur. Ooh, motherfuck. John
Jesus
MacArthur
Christ.
is the Baptist of the Baptists. He is the ultimate mayor of Footloose Town. There is no dancing.
In MacArthurville.
Well, and like, everyone's going to be mad at me for saying that, but I actually I used to love him because I grew up that way, and he's kind of the rock star of that denomination.
I'm sorry, layman here. So, what is he alive?
Oh yeah, he has a mega church down here in California.
Okay, so he's alive. So he's
a
a guy.
He
he's contemporary.
He even has a college. Yeah.
Okay, so he's a contemporary dude, and he has his own Bible.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because what it is it's on the top it's the Bible, and then below it is all his notes. So he literally is telling you what the Bible says. It's really fun.
That's what I'm thinking. See, that's what I'm thinking we should do. Like that, when I was saying we should write our own gospel, that's not what we should do. Is go through and do what he did.
Write our own commentary.
Yeah, like have the Let's Get High and Read the Bible.
The Anderson Reddy contemporary.
Totally.
Yeah, well, let's start working on it. We'll start with Genesis. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm really down.
Let there be fucking light, man.
Now, there is like a warning to teachers in the Bible, because there's like, if you're a teacher of the Bible, you get judged harder than a normal person.
Thank God.
And if you mislead, if you mislead anyone with the Bible, it would be better for a millstone to be tied around your neck and be thrown into the deepest ocean, or have been never born, rather than face the judgment that waits for you.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
That's
I mean, sometimes the Bible's in a metaphor. Sometimes they just want to rip your fucking guts out.
Dude, I mean, that's the thing. And John MacArthur falls into that category. He has a lot of... He, like, really doesn't like gay people.
A lot of bile in him.
Well, we haven't even read the chapter, but, like, check this. It's really weird. If I think anyone that is following any faith, I think their motives are very great. I think they're good from a good place. You're trying to be good. You're trying to do right. I think even him, he's trying to do good. He thinks that it's very important that there's one God, that the only way to heaven is through his son Jesus. So anything else that's happening is wrong. And so when he reads the Bible, he's trying to live it. So I appreciate that. But
okay. So the problem that I see with that, with even you acquiescing to that, is that if he's telling you that you think differently, you're wrong. That's a problem with me. That's not okay. It's not that he's not living right. He's trying to, just because if you can't, and this is foundational. So I totally understand that. I understand. What the fuck? Like, I understand that it's pervasive in organized religion, that it's organized. Otherwise you have chaos, I guess. But chaos is not I don't believe God has a problem with chaos. Okay? I don't believe that God has a problem with this person calling it this person calling it this. As long as the general gist, other than the superfluous, like you have to wear a mask or you have to wear a scarf or you have to, and honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to judge anybody. As long as the bottom line is they're trying to be better people, I don't have a problem with how they get there. It's like there's a lot of roads in the world. Okay, they all lead to Paris or they all lead to the ocean. It's like, so that's like, I'm saying that we're going to call foundational sin when you insist somebody else believe the way you believe.
Yeah, or maybe that's taking the Lord's name in vain, the second commandment,
That's so awesome that you said that, because I thought about, that's my new favorite thing that you told me. That part of it. And I've been telling you, it's okay to say, God damn it. That's not what he means. Leif told me. It's like, don't. Yeah. No. Well, no, that's so eye-opening, because that's what they tell you. That's what they tell you. You can't say Jesus. You can't take, you can't literally. But yeah, so anyway, but I was just thinking that, and then as you were talking, I'm like, damn, what was I going to say? I totally forgot. And then you brought it up. So that commandment, that's number 2. That's silver on that's the podium, right? You can't go around saying that my God's going to smite you because your God is something else, because it's all God.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I agree. I like to the denomination I grew up with, they would probably consider me like a heretic atheist. Right. But I don't. I find this book really, like we've said before, powerful. I think it's really interesting. I don't think the social and political and righteous structures that are formed inside these churches in rural America are correct. I don't think those people are living their best lives. I think they're all just carbon. You can go to a small town and never mind, I can't say that.
Anywhere USA.
Get me in trouble there.
Oh, let's get deplatformed. Come on.
Yeah, but and it's unfortunate because the Bible and any talk about it is really guarded by these pastors and people that work inside this shit, and they don't even recognize the scholars and the people that study these ancient texts. They don't even look at the whole facts. There is a guy named Jesus, outside of the bias opinion of scriptures, which were written by people who totally believed in it, right? So it's bias. There was a guy named Jesus. He did a bunch of weird miracles in the countryside and died for trying to overthrow Rome. And I guess let's get into this verse, because this is from a book, and this book is actually probably predates the Gospels. I think I can't remember, 30. No, it's not 30. Let me have it on Wikipedia. Okay, it's from 1 Corinthians. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is one we know Paul actually wrote, one of the books. So this is written by Paul.
Paul actually wrote it?
Yeah, some of the books in the New Testament were not written by the actual names that are on them. Like the author, it's called pseudepigraphy. It's where
That's good. That's a great word.
It's what it is. So for instance, maybe Paul was sick and one of his scribes were writing down what he was saying. So it wasn't most likely.
I thought you were saying that most of the Gospels weren't written by those people because they were dead.
They weren't. And
right. So that's more the pseudepigraphy is more the rule than the exception.
It's just pretty rampant in the old world, if you can imagine. There's no fact checking, there's no internet, there's no communication, right? So like you can write down some shit and put Socrates,
right?
Yeah, and so it just happened a lot. But this, we happen to know Paul actually wrote this. Some of the other books that are said to be written by Paul were not.
Okay.
But this is from Paul, and Paul. We'll get into Paul. We'll do a whole thing on Paul. Okay, so.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 6:9. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor sodomites, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners will inherit the kingdom of God. As such were you, some of you. But you were washed, but you were sanctified, but you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus and by the Spirit of our God.
Sheesh.
Fuck, right?
Now read it again.
So here we go. 1 Corinthians 6:9. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor sodomites, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners will inherit the kingdom of God. And such were some of you, but you were washed, but you were sanctified, but you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus and by the Spirit of our God.
Oh, so it's saying that while some of you are revelers, and Revelers is the name of our new band, by the way. You've been washed, so you'll inherit the kingdom of God. You can be all those things, but as long as you're washed, you get it.
No, you were those things. You can't be those things anymore. And such such were some of you, were past tense.
Right.
But you were washed. So the teaching would be, like for instance, when Jesus sees that girl in adultery and everyone leaves, he goes, do they judge you? Neither do I. Go and sin no more. There's always that caveat of not doing it.
Okay, so does what's the fucking thing that you do in the Catholic Church where you go into the little room?
Confession?
Is that a Catholic thing?
Yeah.
That's not Christians don't have that?
No.
So what do Christians do with their sins?
They pray to God. They say,
directly,
please forgive me.
And are they then forgiven?
Yes.
You don't even have to ask someone?
No.
So all you have to do is ask for forgiveness and then you're forgiven.
Yeah.
So I don't read that as like you can't be doing it currently. I read that as, and this is the thing, is like as long as you can do whatever you want. It's the same as Catholics, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, we could go. That phrase happens a lot in the Bible, and it's pretty.
The exact one.
A lot of that, yeah.
So,
especially fornication. Like you can't, if you've had fornication, you don't go to heaven.
And that's a sex outside marriage.
Sex before marriage, yeah.
Before or outside?
Before. Adultery is sex outside of marriage. That's also in there always. Yeah.
Now, what about all the priests that were rat tagging girls back at the hotel, and then they all switch places when they ring the bell? Is that like a well, we're kind of on the team, we're on stage, we're like the crew, so we still have to be back here? What? Like, I don't understand. Like they can't get thrown out of the place because they have to like load the gear out afterwards? What? I don't get.
Well, if you take the Bible literally, which
we've decided you shouldn't.
Well, which is what every church in America does, right? They think and do.
Have we decided that you shouldn't?
I don't think you should. No, I think it's a very complex book that's took a long time. That's evolved over all these generations. I don't know. I think you should look at it holistically. Seems contextually seems to be good. Definitely not literally.
Okay.
Because if that's the truth, that like anyone that's like mad at us right now for what they would call like blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, or like taking the word of God out of context, like, well, they probably fucked before they got married, and guess what? You go to hell. There's no fucking.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself. But again, so as a Catholic, though, Catholics are always looking for the loophole. I read that. So what are you saying with that? What does that verse mean to you?
Well, that's what that verse meant to me. That's why it was so important to me to live the way I did before I obviously realized it was fake. But I thought you died and would go to hell forever if you had sex before you were married. So that's I would go to bed with like gloves on, like snow gloves to like. I would do anything I could to not think about girls or like how hot they were. I would like
because they were hot.
Oh my God, girls are gorgeous. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. That's going to be one that haunts me a long time.
Which one?
That we didn't have these conversations before. Like we did though. We did. We had some. We
had so many. What are you talking? You're a formative figure in my life. What other path was there? I was so deeply rooted in my belief system that the only way I could ever really grow and become myself was to kind of mess up, and I had to I made a bunch of mistakes, and then I fixed them, and then that's how you do this stuff. Like, it's unfortunate, but
live and learn, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, especially learning like who's good in your life. That for me, I never. I grew up in the woods, so I believed anything you said. So if you're like, I'm a successful barista, I'd be like you own a cafe, I'd be like, oh, you must be so interesting. So I'd like gave my number to everyone, and I'd be like, There's no boundaries, no learning about energy vampires, about emotional vampires, about real vampires.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the one that got you.
There's a bunch of that phrase in there. Yeah, I think it happens in Romans too.
All right. Well, let's just unpack it a little bit, and at the very least, like maybe there's probably a lot fewer. Well, no. Do you think there's just as many kids like you out there as there were when you were growing up? Or more?
I bet you it's pretty steady. They like to, they procreate pretty often, and many of them stay in this belief. It's it's not like it's bad. It's hanging out and playing dodgeball is fucking fun.
Yeah.
So like, if they want to.
First of all, it's, Leif has already talked about how it ruined his first marriage. His lack of knowing what to do when it's time to do it ruined. Was kind of one of the main reasons that your first marriage didn't work out.
Yeah. Have you ever? So this guy named Joshua Harris. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
My family was obsessed with him. He wrote this book called "I Kissed Dating Goodbye," and so, like I said, in my sect, the big thing was to save your first kiss for the altar. So everyone was trying to do this, but I couldn't do. I failed at that, obviously, pretty quickly.
Good. Well, it didn't matter.
It's luckily, yeah. But it's, so there's a whole book. This guy, they went on speaking circuits, him and his wife, and just like 3 years ago, maybe, he got divorced and has apologized for everything and is started
doing blow.
Hopefully. I feel bad for the guy, It's like it's just like anything else. You get caught up in momentum, and in these sects of religion is money and popularity, and you can build a little fucking business for yourself, and it's just by saying what you believe. So what's wrong with that,
Yeah.
But it's really, it's really hard to be objective in these circles because there's a lot of groupthink. That's kind of the idea, is how do we interpret this book? So it's kind of leans towards it,
Well, it's really God. If we could save one person from going through what you went through, you know what I mean? It's like there's no reason that pastors, like, why? Okay, here's something. Why don't pastors? Why isn't there like sexual counseling?
Oh, there is.
Like
I've been to so many.
No. I mean like sex counseling, like
Yeah,
how to have sex.
That's what they think they're.
No. I mean the stuff that would have saved your marriage. Where's the fucking clitoris? How do I fucking not come? It's like, how do I fucking, if I bite her on the back and she says stop, does she really not mean it sometimes?
Yeah.
What about communication where it's like the choking? Yeah. It's like she looks like she's gonna die. No, she likes it. Just does, if she holds her, why is she holding my hand on her neck, forcing me to choke her? Why? It's like, is that wrong? No, it's not wrong. It's like, why can't we have that sort of, like, there are things that, there are things that people need to know. It's like that everyone's different, and there's nothing wrong when you take your clothes off.
That's right, and and I was really fortunate to like have lived a life, and after this stuff, let's say not pure, right? I definitely had some years there where I just went nuts because but before that, and all this rock and roll shit, I really was like living the way I thought, by the Bible, and so therefore I had done it all perfectly and everything failing. But when you're lucky enough to hang out in green rooms with like you guys and hear all this shit, you're like, what? Real? What? So like. Yeah, that's where I got it. But here's the truth. I've been to, I can't even tell you how many sexual classes at different. Did you watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix?
No. Oh, is that the thing about the
Rajneesh? Yeah. Osho
No, I
and
never
stuff.
watched it. I should watch it.
So after that whole debacle, they turned that place into a Christian camp. I think it was called Big Muddy at the time, and I went there. I actually went for a week. So I to that huge temple they have. It's an acre indoor. It had like 3 rock climbing walls that were 90 feet, like 12 basketball courts, like a soccer field, a workout room, half pipes everywhere.
All indoors.
All indoors. All indoors. They had a ropes.
This was a sex camp that you went to, or like it was?
No,
like
it's like Young Life. They're like a non.
I know what that is.
Yeah. It's a Young Life camp. So like, it was weird because like I had never seen this many kids my age in my life. Like I was free. It was like a school. And right when I come in on the bus, there's like a zip line that was like almost a mile long, and like a kid's just coming down and going in the water. I'm like, whoa! But like up in one of the bungalows, this guy who kind of looks. Do you know who Tim Dillon is? Tim Dillon. He's a comedian that's like.
Okay.
Some people fucking hate, but I think so funny. He's like really gay. He's kind of bigger. I think he's hilarious. But he looked exactly like him. And up there, he taught us about sex, the whole thing, masturbation, intercourse. But it's like, yeah, he looked exactly like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
with just like a little stubble.
Yeah.
So like, this guy, one of the pieces of advice he says is like, when I get really turned on, because you're not allowed to jerk off, right? That's bad.
Okay.
You can't self-please.
No, me
So, because Abraham made a covenant with his eyes that he would not look lustfully upon a young woman.
Or man.
So like he's like, I just look at a white wall and I just only think of the white wall, and until the feelings go away. And like that would essentially be all the advice. Like, well,
Okay, well,
sometimes I just take a walk.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Is that shit? That's like that's not that we. I mean, we could make. I guess it's okay. So why? Why aren't they telling you? Why aren't they being honest? That's not realistic.
To be honest, it's that is realistic to them because they tried to live in this certain way, and so they didn't open themselves up to sexual things.
Well, that's what they say. That's what they say, and then they end up divorced.
Yeah.
They end up failing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've talked about, is that's a recipe for failure. You can't go into something with a third of the information. You know, you can't have a third of a map and get to your destination.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. And I think religion, like organized religion, could be a good thing. And like I think we talked about, my dad is like talking about, it's all okay if it gets people feeling good about themselves somehow. Even the evangelist who's like stealing old people's money.
I don't back that.
I don't either. But it could be. It could be, at least it could be better. They could like, look, okay, we fucked up the sex part. It's okay. And, you know, they're losing. I don't know. God, you talk for a minute. I just get super frustrated.
No, you're totally, that's, okay, so check this out. I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music growing up at all. A friend had left a 311 record at my house. This is the first time I heard distorted guitars.
Wow.
Yeah. So, this concert was happening, and it was a Christian concert, and it had rock bands. And one of my friends from church, it was a very small town, very small church, was going, and he told me about it. So I told my mom it was a Bible study. I told her I was going to a Bible study because I know she wouldn't let me go to a rock show.
Was it a real rock show? Was it secular?
No, they were Christian bands like Praising Jesus, but like they had distorted guitars.
But
they had a mosh pit.
So even though it was God music, your mom still wouldn't have let you go?
Yeah, because it sounds too secular. Because it's mimicking secular music, you know.
Okay, go
on.
Go on, incriminate your mom. Go ahead.
I love her. I do love her.
God bless her.
Yeah, so, well, anyway, what this fucking show is...
We're all, it's like, you know what, it doesn't really, it's like your mom is not more incriminated than any of our moms. Like my mom, like, fucked up.
Dude,
God bless her. God bless her. Fucked up.
It's hard, dude.
It's hard to be a mom.
If you grew up close to the Depression...
Or if you grew up.
If you grew up.
If you grew up and had kids or found yourself with kids, it was like, fuck, what?
Yeah.
What? This is not what I signed up for. It's supposed to be easy, and it's fucking work.
No, dude. The currency for a child is time. You have to that's everything. You have to give them time. Like,
and more than one.
So hard.
After you get, like, and if there's any challenging to the kids at all, like, you know, my son is on the spectrum. I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere on there. I think my strengths were, my social were not nearly, like, my son's executive functioning and social challenges, right? I have the executive challenges in spades. Luckily, my social challenges I don't have any social challenges. And that's where I just thrived. So, but like, you know, my brother had his challenges, and he was a year older than me. It's just fucking, anyway, go ahead. Yeah. Moms get a bad rap because they're in an unwinnable situation. Yeah. I just want to say that foundationally so that we can cap on our moms. So go ahead. Yeah,
well, my mom, you know, we grew up in a house that, like, most of the time rained on us with no heat. We had a tiny, tiny TV. It was like the Fight Club house. Like, everything swole up when it was wet. And we lived in Washington. It was so... And she's, you know, entrepreneur. She accomplished a lot. She got all of her kids to way better lives than she had. Awesome. And so my hat's off to her in that way. I forgot what we were building on.
The
sex.
No. The band, the first concert you went to, Matthew from the 311.
Yeah, with Joseph Hewson. Yeah. So what happened was, I saw like a mosh pit. And I was right on the edge of it, and these kids were like pushing each other, but I thought they were fighting. And it was like the sound of the guitars and the fighting. It was like this little spark went, and I just like it consumed every inch of my mind, and I was like, what is this? In fact, the hilarious thing, of the 3 bands that played in the next 2 years, I was in 2 of them.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So, like, one of them, we actually flew out and played we did a TBN gig. We played with the pink-haired lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did one of those gigs at
Nice.
Nashville. Yeah.
Did you make any money for that?
No, they just like put you up. No, there's not much.
No,
You got to
we're
screw
kids.
people out of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
No, yeah. No.
All right, and see, so the spark was, your mind was blown.
Yeah. What were we talking about before this?
Well, you found the 311 tape.
Oh, see, that's what happens. Is my life is so weird that when I'm trying to tell a story, we get on these huge tangents.
Yeah, we get way in the woods, and it's like we're lost in the woods again about God.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but so I don't know what we're like.
Well, let's talk about sex in the Bible because.
Oh
like,
well, we were talking. Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
we were talking about how come there's not real sex counseling, and
we're going to start it right now.
You were at the ashram. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the deal. Is like, but you were talking about the guy who looks stare at a white wall instead of jacking off.
Yes, we've just
and I'm
been
like,
on.
That's just why isn't there? Yeah, so we need to like, and an organized religion could be this good thing. And I shut up. I took us to the dead end when I said I can't talk anymore because I feel frustrated. But but it's like so. I don't know. So maybe we should have two podcasts. One is let's get high and read the Bible. One is we're going to school you people who read the Bible all the time on how you should be living, on workarounds, on life hacks, on Christian life hacks.
What we'll do is break it into sections in our main conversation. Then I'll just make a little video of it, and we'll call it sexual healing.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
what we'll call it. Yeah. Well, you'll obviously lead it, and I can give real life. I can give real life scenarios because we've been in so many weird situations.
You can do that. You can do the before and after. Well, so before I was this. Then I was this. Now you tell me, which would you rather? I mean, look, I'm not going to hell. I'm still here. I didn't burst into flames.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's really.
I'll have the little cap on, and I'll have the screen and the pointer stick, and then the film will roll, and it'll be you before and then you after.
The funny part is I have photographic evidence of this because, like, I have all my homeschool yearbooks. I have they're back there. I'm actually gonna take pictures of them.
Wouldn't that just be a family portrait?
Basically, so my mom started a homeschool co-op that met once a week, and it was at first just a play date for about like 10 different homeschooled families.
Okay.
So they always have kids that are around the same age. So they just hang out. But then it kind of grew into this big. It's actually a private school now, I believe. It had like 270 homeschooled families. So you meet once a week and get like science, math, and all that kind of stuff, and then you go home and do your homework the way you see fit. But it's a great idea. For me, I kind of just slipped right through the cracks still. But
you mean to end up where you are now?
Well, I've never taken a test. I've never done math. I never wrote a book report. I've never done any form of school ever. Not
testing.
No. Not anything. I've never finished a math problem. I've never taken a standardized test.
Did you end up with a diploma?
From a homeschooled co-op that I never took any of the tests at.
Well, you know what? You're a really, really intelligent guy, and the thing is, you've got what, you have what would be the equivalent of a PhD in Bible study. It's like you've got your 10,000 hours plus. It's like
read it a lot.
You're a master of many things. So anyway, let's move on. Good. No, it's important. It's important to organized education isn't necessarily any better than organized religion.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're on the outside. For me, growing up, like every time I went to a graduation, like if there was a friend graduating or something, I would fucking have to leave and cry, because I was just like, it's a whole world I got alienated from, and I'm like, the idea of like, of like someone older that knows more than you about something and sitting under them and learning what they know. It's just, I'm like, I love it. I like, and I kind of created my own education by just listening to online courses of like all these different, like, on tour. What are you going to do for 8 fucking hours? Like that. So that's all I would do. I'd listen to the Bible or Bible courses or
stare at a white wall.
You do see, being sober and fucking not fucking on tour. You have all the. I've been to Disneyland. I've been to Alcatraz. You know, like you're always, you got free time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out the.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have an oil stain rule? Did you have that?
Oil spot.
Yeah.
Where you're not allowed to oil spot people.
No, where like if you get to the van late, there's just an oil spot where the van was.
Didn't I tell you that story?
No, that was just one of the tour managers threw that on us one day.
Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, oil spotting is yeah. Oh, I was just explaining. Oh, maybe I was explaining that to my wife. Did we have a rule? I mean, it never happened on purpose.
It happened to me one night.
On purpose?
No, I actually ended up getting the room key that so I just said the band name at the lobby, you know, the hotel, the check-in.
Right. Yeah.
And they gave me the room key that a band member had set aside to take a girl to instead. And those people had gone to they ended up at a different party that night, so they didn't end up at this hotel. So I ended up with no phone charger, so my phone's dead, and, you know, I didn't think I'd sleep for fucking 14 hours straight. And I ended up dead, so they left me.
So they didn't, because at some point, yeah. Because usually oil spotting is you're not aware that you've left the person behind.
Oh, yeah. No, we had we were just straight chaos. That band was, fuck it. I love that shit. I thrive in chaos, but the band was just straight chaos. Like, they, I think the label tried to like whip us into shape once. They like gave us this really respectable tour manager. And like within 3 days, that band had him like jumping a rented Mustang backwards over the Disneyland parking lot, like flower arrangement. Like
we can do this. We can do this. Yeah. What was that? What band was that?
That was Vendetta Red. Yeah.
And what label was that band on?
Epic.
And so how far into that did you get plopped in?
Pretty far. Pretty far. Like I came in right before this amazing. In fact, that's a crazy story. I've never told you that, huh? I came in. So I was playing in this band where I got to play all these solos. It was called Common Heroes. I had all these Slash solos, and that's all I wanted to be at that point, just Slash. So I was like, I really liked the band I was in, and my buddy Burke, who I've just been in all like 15 or 20 bands with. He was out with them. The guitar player quit. He takes me out, and he's like, "You need to join this band. Like we need you, and you're perfect for this band." And it was like 3 months before all the shit happened, you know. And so he gave me 3 months to prepare, but they were like sacrilegious. They said like curse words, and you know. And I was like, I didn't practice. I didn't learn shit. And then so they end up playing a show 3 nights before my audition down in Olympia, and as a 4-piece. Sorry, my ears. And I go down. It was the fucking most goddamn amazing rock show I had ever seen in my fucking life. I was just like blown away. It was like they were so tight. They had been on the road, so they were just like carved out of iron. It was just like da, 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 da. And I like went home, bought a 24-pack of fucking Red Bull, and stayed up for 3 days. Learned every single one of their fucking albums. And I got that rash right here.
Yeah.
And then it became a golf ball size pus. But I didn't know because I was just learning songs. And so when I took this weird, I duct taped it up with
gauze.
I didn't even have that. What is it? Tissue that you clean, like paper.
Oh, like paper towels.
Yeah, paper towels and duct tape. So I fucking took it off, and there was a red line, like a thick red line, going all the way up into my armpit. It was right here. So my mom rushes me to the ER, and they have to lance it open. I gotten like crazy blood poisoning, and I'm on a gurney with my other lead singers, Dan Electro, like still learning riffs for my audition the next day.
Yeah. Committed.
Dude, I just like, there's nothing keeping me from being this. And the next day we had rehearsal. Zach, he's my favorite. I love him. He shows up 4 hours late wearing a Van Halen shirt that's like past his knees. Looks like a dress. And he only sang Gloria Estefan lyrics. So we played the set. but he didn't sing any lyrics. So I'm trying to like cue up the songs, and he's like, "The rhythm is gonna get you, rhythm is gonna." And then we got in a van and left for we played one show, and it was in a coffee house. They had 700 kids. Seriously, and there was so many kids we were up against our amps, getting hit in the head. Everyone was crowd surfing. Never heard Zach once because the audience was just screaming, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And so off.
Nice.
It was fun. Yeah. Man, I'm high as fuck. We strayed off the Bible a little bit, huh?
I asked though. I remember I saw Vendetta Red at in like 2001 or 2. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Zach had that band in '97.
Right. So I saw him at the Silver Lake Cafe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is like a little, it's like a shoebox, and like, was Burke original?
So you probably saw Burke because one of the main dudes who unfortunately passed away recently, his name's Joseph. He's amazing, Joseph Childers. He's like a seminal songwriter extraordinaire. So he plays all the instruments. So he just took up drums and became the drummer of the band. And he's that kind of guy. So he was the main drummer in the band. But whenever they toured, because he had a kid, Burke was the drummer. And as you know, Burke is literally the Terminator. He's a Latin Dave Grohl. He's so with him behind there, it was that band was a monster truck.
Yeah.
So you probably saw him.
I saw that, but it was there was, I don't know if people remember or not, but the buzz around them was they at the time, and I'm not sure if it's still the case, but at the time they signed the biggest record deal that had ever been. Their lawyer, this friend of ours, he had to find outside counsel because he ran out of things to ask for.
Yeah, what was Brandy Carlisle's lawyer? What's his name? I forget.
Michael Barber.
Barber. I love Barber. He was always nice to me. Barber was nice to me.
The story is that he ran out of things to ask for.
Yeah.
So he had to he was a little over his head, and he'd probably blanch and be like, "Fuck you, I did not." But that's the story, and it's not a bad story. So we saw them. We go in there, and there was a band before them, and we were kind of waiting outside because it's really loud in that place, a little small place.
Yeah.
And they started playing, and I didn't understand how people could play music when their feet weren't on the floor ever. At no point.
Yeah.
They were so active.
Yeah.
Energetic that they were not touching the floor more than they were touching the floor.
Oh yeah.
And it was like they were all. Part. Yeah. It was like a circus act. And we didn't actually stay because it was okay, I get it. And it's we're old by that point already, and we're I'm gonna go outside because it was and they were fucking loud as fuck.
Yeah,
which was kids
were orange.
Yeah, kids were super into it, and I get it and got it, and then we left.
Yeah, and it is performing in that band or being in that band was kind of like riding a fucking bull, which unfortunately. That's kind of all we wanted to do, but it would fuck up your performance.
Well, that's exactly right.
Sometimes you sound like shit, and I've had heart attacks after gigs.
Yeah.
I've literally gotten off stage, fallen down, and had palpitations, and had an ambulance called.
Yeah.
I've been knocked out on stage.
By a headstock or somebody else's shin or something.
Zach was swinging the microphone, and someone was crowd surfing, and they hit him. They took Zach out. So Zach got hit by someone getting launched on stage, and then he let go of the microphone and hit me. Yeah. And I just wake up right next to my amps. It's
Okay. Well, so I was trying to be. That's what was going on. It was was but you guys aren't really playing your instruments. You're just freaking out. And Zach wasn't really. We were okay, got it. So and we wanted to see what all the hype was about. And at that point, the hype wasn't about songs, it was about performance.
See,
not what's that?
Oh, nothing, keep going.
Yeah. It was about performance and not the musical performance, but the histrionics. if that's a word.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
It's funny that you're not the first person that has used that when referring to this. The problem is like, whatever you want to, like, I don't want to call any, I don't know the problem. I don't want to act like I know anything. Zach, the lead singer of that band, is just like, he writes some of the raddest songs I've ever heard. He writes them all the time. He's so good. And you give these young kids this much money, it breeds this weird thing. Everyone hates you. So everywhere we go, everyone fucking hated us. And like, so there's extra pressure because every gig you're at, everyone's kind of rooting for you to fail. And you're young and you fucking, I never even heard about the Bowery Ballroom, let alone play like a sold out show there. And it's like, to prepare for these tours, I would get so nervous that I would hop this fence kind of by Duff's house at that graveyard up there, and I would play our set in the graveyard like 3 times at night because playing in front of all these people freaked me the fuck out, and so instead of harnessing that nervous energy and being good at playing the tunes, you just freak out. But if you catch that on a good night, so there'd be a good night where like everyone in the crowd leaves and got a fucking tattoo that night, because
there's totally, and I think also the not just being young, certainly being young, but also like there's a thing that halfway into the set you're super into it and you're not nervous anymore, but to get to walk on stage and flip that energy switch on, you're sort of faking it for the first 2 or 3 songs just to get yourself going, just to get your metabolism jumped and your mojo going. Like when I was in that, it doesn't have anything to do with me, but like I've been in, if I wasn't playing drums in a band, it's like that thing where if you're performing, you have to perform the first song as good, as energetically as you perform the last song. And so until you break a sweat, you're kind of not faking it, but you're going through the motions of performing. You're performing. You're not just emoting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that could be that's where the nerves come in. Because it's like you just have to walk up there and turn the switch on, and it's like, what if I don't feel the electricity right away?
Well, that's the whole. How about this? You just puked 5 times before you got on stage, and you still got to go kill it. That's going. If you want to play music, at that level, that is going to happen.
Well, and like you say, especially if you're known for being this
you're
hysterical.
Bring it.
You have to. You have to bring it as soon as the switch goes on.
Yeah.
And you never feel like you can't. That feeling comes gradually as you play, as you receive the energy from the crowd. When you walk up there's no energy coming from the crowd other than like sometimes this.
That does happen.
You get the people, like you're saying, the people who want you to fail. You have to win them over, which means you have to give them all of your energy before you start receiving any. That's fucking trying.
It's trying. Have you ever been booed off stage?
No.
Really?
No.
I've been booed off stage.
That's a lesson learner right there.
It's like we were playing with this. It was From Autumn to Ashes, Rise Against, Comeback Kid, and us in like Cincinnati, I think.
And where were you in the bill?
I think we were like right before From Autumn to Ashes, so we were like
co-headliner.
Oh, right. No, the co-headliner were the 2 bigger bands. They had, the funnier part is From Autumn to Ashes had 2 buses, and this band Rise Against that were great. I love them. They were so nice to us.
So who was headlining?
This band called Rise Against. They had kind of a hit, but they were in a van, and they were like, "We stay in this van so we can fucking tolerate each other and keep this shit going, and it saves all this money." Right. They're amazing.
Saves all this money.
That money.
Right. So how there are 5 bands. And you're wearing
them? I
feel
like
and where you're like
third.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Were you the only one that got booed off stage?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, so what happened is we've been playing this set list for like 6 months, and it's like a whole nation tour. We just went up to do a couple shows with these guys, and we changed it to shorten it. And so the other guitar player used to always start set, and now I start set. And I got like I'm like blonde. I got like tight Zero Girl jeans, I love Led Zeppelin and shit, and kind of everyone else in the band was getting into that rock phase too. We had, like, there's money in your bank account. You could buy like a leather jacket, you know,
Sure.
like, yeah. And like, so it's a pretty, you know, they're more punk rock crowd. And so they're already like, and then we go and I just stand there for like 35 seconds, 40 seconds, waiting for the song to start. And finally Zach's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I remember like kicking the riff, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to win them back.
The damage had been done.
Yeah, and so it slowly escalated. Luckily, by the time they were booing, we were like, it's our last song, fuck faces. So like,
nice.
Zach was always like, Zach has the fastest humor ever. So like one time this guy was like, get off the stage. And Zach, he's like, get off the stage. And Zach was like, when I get off, buddy, it's going to be on your face. And like the whole audience would go, ooh, you know, so we'd like, we'd win him over like that way. Like he'd always have like this snappy retort. Like,
yeah, that's important for the guy with the mic.
He's real good in a fight. He's a good friend to have if there's a brawl going on. Yeah, he's fun. But it's sobering once that has happened. You're like, oh yeah, like, you know, that was like what? So 8,000 middle fingers because everyone was, was. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, this is man, I get like high off our conversation is the problem. You know what I'm saying? So like, because I'm a stoner, so I'm okay with weed. But as soon as you get me high, then I'm like I want to get out. I want to go out in the universe. So this is from the same book, and well, I'll just let the Bible speak for the Bible. 1 Corinthians 14:34 and 35. As in all the churches of the saints, women should be silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but they should be subordinate, as the laws also says. If there is anything they desire to know, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church.
That is just baby dick fucking talk right there. That is like tiny penis fucking afraid of like that's like see, that's unreconcilable. I've like that's just like there's nothing to say about that other than like that the world would be a livable and sustainable place if women made all that gospel you just read. What is it? Is it a gospel?
Yeah. Well, no, that's an epistle. That's a church. That's a letter to the churches.
So that epistle should be inverted, male instead of female. The world would be livable, sustainable, emotionally available. You know, that's just the.
You know, have you? Do you know who Robert Sapolsky is?
His name was Robert Paulson.
Robert Sapolsky.
His name was Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I watched that movie last night. Actually, it's funny you say that.
Who's that?
He's my favorite evolutionary biologist, and he did this amazingly long research on this group of, I don't think it's chimpanzees. I think it's like bonobos. I can't remember what species of monkey over in Africa, and he studied them for like 20 years, I think. I can't remember. It was in one of his books. Brilliant.
Okay.
I'm kind of butchering it. I'm sorry. But like...
Fact check.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. What happened is the males are dominating in this tribe, right? They dominate everything and they keep the younger males in line. And they have problems. They have like, normal problems. People kill each other. Babies get killed. People get torn. Not people, monkeys. These monkeys are doing this to each other. Well, I feel like a resort moved in and they had trash, and these males would get the first food out of the trash, and they got sick from it and died.
Oh,
and
all the dominant
alpha males. Yeah.
I've seen that. It's a documentary, right?
There's a lot about there's a lot on it. I think there's like even a TED talk about it. But like,
right.
and like I'm not anti-male at all. I'm a dude. Like, it's just the truth. Like, but yeah, why would you like?
Well, finish what you were saying about what happened. So so that the place moves in. All the dominant males die from the garbage, and so the females
start grooming and accepting these males that weren't. These
it turns into a matriarchy.
It turns into a peaceful society. They live peacefully,
because
like they still do.
Because all the alpha males were killed off by their own aggressiveness.
Yeah, and I'm not. And see, like, here's the deal. Like, I'm not saying I love alpha males. Like, a bunch of my friends are alpha males. Like, but like, if you want to be a real alpha male, the Bible says you keep that sword sheathed. If you're a meek person, if you are the person that inherits the earth, you're someone that knows about peace. You're someone that knows about compromise. Because there's no way you can keep that sword. Because I get angry all the time, you know. Right. So why would we cut off, like, you know? We talk about this a lot, but I think it's important.
It is important. It's like, yes, there's the feminine and the masculine in everyone. Yeah. And honestly, that seems like the most blatant example of self-preservation.
Yeah.
That you can, like, that's the thing that does those things. That sort of energy is what
small dick energy.
Small baby dick in the house, right? Like, that sort of thing is what delegitimizes the whole thing. You know, the fact that they were like so concerned with strong women, or women, period. You know, they weren't even going to wait to see who was strong and who wasn't. They're just going to go blanket statement.
Yeah,
the women shut up and ask your men and defer and don't speak in public.
Yeah,
and that is just the most. That's the most offensive thing I can imagine.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, I can say something maybe equally offensive to Christians. Unfortunately, I wish they maybe wouldn't take this so offensively, but I think Paul sucks. The guy that wrote this book sucks. He's rich. He's probably, he might even be more significant in the Bible than Jesus Christ himself, because Paul speaks Greek and he's the one that translates all these early. Not translates, but he's the one that kind of like stokes the fire of this religion, you know. But he also says you shouldn't be married, and he kind of like puts it in this way to guys that you should spend all your time preaching the gospel. You shouldn't you shouldn't even have lots of thoughts, because you should be so consumed with preaching the free gift of God, of Jesus, you know? And it's like
that's an easy to say for a rich guy.
And
nobody sees when he's hiring prostitutes and has them leave through the back door.
And check this out. Paul starts out his life before Jesus as a Pharisee. And we talked about those guys on an earlier podcast. Pharisees are the people that like know every single thing about the book and the law, and they're going to tell you. And he actually would stone Christians. So he was a Jew that would kill Christians. And then he's on this road to Damascus, and he gets a vision, a blinding light. And Jesus is like, "Why do you persecute me?" So at this point, his name was Saul of Tarsus. Comes from a merchant family. And so this event he has, this psychedelic trip or whatever the fuck happened to him on this road to Damascus, where Jesus, he says, blinds him, gives him the credibility. He had an interaction with Christ. Now I'm an apostle. Now I can talk about Jesus. And he forms everything. He writes like 13 books of the New Testament. He's like the biggest dude in the New Testament. Also, another fun fact about Paul, the brother of Jesus, half-brother of Jesus, James, fucking hates him. So
James hates him.
The brother, the fucking half-brother of the dude, doesn't agree with him.
So James is Jesus' half-brother?
Yeah, he's rad.
Mary has another. Is it Mary or Joseph?
They have a bunch of. There's a bunch of boys in that family.
A bunch of Mary and Joseph babies?
No, we don't. Joseph, we don't. Joseph's not very big.
Who's James's dad?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think it actually names Joseph.
Mary got around. Well, you know what? Here's a little known fact. this is why, like, so, it was, but Mary only had touch-free intercourse and only with deities.
That's true.
Yeah, so it wasn't so like, but there's a joke in here somewhere. But no, I was trying to make a joke that before Christ, Jesus wanted to make sure he was the only deity, but there were actually like how many brothers did he have?
I can't remember. There might be a number.
But they're all half.
James.
They're all
James
half brothers.
Well, because mother, they only share Mary as a mother, right? Cause
right. But like,
because they have an earthly father. Jesus would be the only one birthed by the Holy Spirit.
But at the time, the Jewish faith is there's just the one God also, right? They don't have gods for everything.
That's a big deal. I mean, that's a question. No, they have one God, and he's jealous. He doesn't like anyone else. Now, I think the Jewish faith comes from two different gods, Elohim and Jehovah. So they would take these two different gods from two different places, kind of squish them together. But yeah, they are a monotheistic.
Was there any multi-theistic,
polytheistic
religions at the time? At the time,
trillions.
Okay, so maybe
that literally was kind of the problem. They had a god for everything. Oh, you didn't pray to the god of
taxes.
Yeah, really good hair.
Right.
You didn't pray to the. So like it was kind of chaos, right?
Right. Okay. Well, what I was thinking is that maybe that Mary was a conduit, and she had deities from all of those gods. Like they all came into her bed at night. So like every one of her kids was like a. It's not really landing, so I'm going to move on.
There might be a child support angle in there. That could be pretty funny.
And back child support, apparently.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but
payable in souls.
The funny part, where we've hit on all these different topics, but that whole thing of like, so I really like fucking being a dude. I like being myself. Like, I see no problem with it, but like, when there is a balance of power, at least women, their voices get heard fully without without any type of fucking restrictions or gaslighting or any type of like you're putting on it. When they get to like offer their opinion, it's always if you pick the right woman, I guess you should say, like it's really can be the best fucking thing and important. And like when it comes to religion, yeah, right. Like before,
I think that. And again, this is just like my where I think it's the most important thing is not that women get to be heard. The most important thing is that everyone realizes that it's the men who should get to be heard, and it's the women who actually get to, like the part where it's like, I think it's important that women are heard. Well, that's completely, we've already done them a disservice by there being the assumption they shouldn't be heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like foundationally, the women should be like, yeah, I know it's entirely a fucking 100% up to us, and that's the way it should be, and no one's questioning that, and I know this might sound condescending, but maybe we should let the men be heard. That's how, like, that would be better. And so, I don't know, I just had to say that.
Well, do you know who Terrence McKenna is?
Yeah.
So he has this theory about like mushrooms being like the first sacrament, and that all the early religions of these of the sacrament were led by priestess, by women. And
you talked about it. They were called what were they?
Well, that's a different one. This is a different book, actually.
Right.
But I want you to read both of them, because the thing is it's like, a lot of these ancient religions were like the ones that we lost in the burning of the Library of Alexandria were led by women. You had to be a woman to get you to the other side during this trip. And they were used psychedelic wines, and they were inclusive, and who's to say that doesn't work? When you see alcohol come about, which is weird because you do a psychedelic and the ego just dissolves. You realize that you are like you and that this mic is somehow connected. You have no fucking idea. you realize how small you are. It has this really beautiful effect of like ego death, right?
Humbling, yeah.
Yeah, and the opposite thing happens with alcohol.
Right.
With alcohol, I'm the funniest motherfucking human that's ever existed, regardless.
No, I'm the funniest motherfucker ever existed.
Right. So when you see this alcohol and this egotistical sacrament take over, and people just, of course the fucking bigger, stronger dudes start taking over everything. And of course it's all fucked up ever since. And of course there's no balance in it. And of course women aren't allowed to speak in the church if you're following the Bible. If you're a woman and you teach Sunday school at church, that's against your fucking Bible. How do you deal with this? Yeah. That's weird. That's not right.
So how do the women, the pink-haired lady, on TBN or NBT or whatever that, the religious channel, how do they get around that?
You just talk. The Bible's real big. You can just focus on the really cool, beautiful passages a lot. You can do that forever.
Yeah, but it says that women should just stay home and defer to their husbands. Are you allowed to stay home and refer to your husband on TV?
It's fun, right? It's fun. No, it's just called being a hypocrite.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the same thing with any pastor that wants money, because, Jesus says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to get into heaven. So if you have money and you're a Christian, that's silly.
Right.
Like Kanye West, I don't want to talk shit. He's an easy target or whatever, right? But like, if he really was a Christian, in my opinion, he'd sell all of his shit right now, give that $1 billion to everyone that needs it. And that would make him a real Christian, instead of a marketing ploy trying to get Christians to buy your album because they're the only people that haven't.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's funny that I didn't think that these things would get me down so much.
It's really sad, right? Because...
Well, it's supposed to be funny, and it's just kind of a fucking bummer. It's like these people fucking bum me out. Like, It's really not okay. Like, the hypocritical, it's just like, I get overwhelmed. Like, I just have to stop fucking talking. And so maybe that's why we're the people to do this. And I'm going to get less and less joking about our fucking Bible, about our fucking footnotes, because it's like fucking step by step.
We're gonna figure it out.
You know what? And it'll every fucking footnote will say the same thing. Don't be stupid. All right. First of all, open your fucking eyes, look at what they're saying, realize this was, 3,000 years ago when there weren't 70 million, how many billion people are there now? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many are there?
Isn't it 8?
8 billion people. There were probably, how many people were on the planet in 1000 BC, or 200 BC? Every one of our footnotes will start with, first of all, this isn't literal, you dickhead. I guess we can't do that though. We're trying to. We can head out. We'll just say it's not literal. What does it say?
1 million.
A million.
Between 1 million and 15 million.
On the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. So about the size of Seattle.
Guess we're all about those abrupt endings. Someday we won't be over Zoom. Right? Someday we'll be like face to face, have a bunch of guests and like feed homeless people and shit like that. Thank you again. It's so cool that you made it. You rule. And we'll see you next Monday. Smooches.